Espargaro and Danilo Petrucci. Can anybody get into that tricky turn one before Marquez? Because if they don't, he could disappear into the sunset. Red flag taken away. Round 14, the MotoGP World Championship here at Motorland Aragon is underway.
And Marquez got a great start from pole position, but Lorenzo got a brilliant start from third. Lorenzo's going to have the inside line. Lorenzo, does he have the whole shot? Not quite. Marquez sweeps around the outside, but Lorenzo, has he hold firm? No, Marquez again up the inside of Lorenzo. It will be Marquez up through turn number 3 that squeezes Lorenzo out onto the curves. Vinales into the lead.
Whoa, Vinales definitely touched Marquez. Vinales leads the way. Lorenzo and Marquez relegated to third, but Marquez up the inside at turn 4 and takes the lead past both of them.
Brilliant move by Marquez. He ran it in way too hot though. Vinales sweeps back through. Lorenzo also sweeps back through. Rossi has a look up the inside of Marquez at turn number 7. No way through for the Italian. Marquez got a little bit impatient there up at turn number 5. He's back in third place. Vinales is your race leader as they drop down to the reverse corkscrew for the first time.
This is war. They know they must not let Marquez get away at the front. Very tough riding from Jorge Lorenzo and Maverick Vinales. And Vinales leads the way as they sweep through turn 11 before they start to drop and break for turn 12.
Rossi picked up 2 places on this first lap in a 4th place. He's not going to be close enough to attack Marquez into turn number 12 for the first time. Marquez closes the gap on the brakes right up on the rear tyre of Jorge Lorenzo as they drop down to turn number 14 for the first time. Dovizioso is in 5th. Then it's Aleix Espargaro. Danny Pedrosa's up 1 place into 7th.
They come through 15 onto the back straight. Marquez is back
Lorenzo
into 2nd place for Lorenzo. Side by side, the Yamaha and the Honda. Vinales should lead into turn 16. Rossi trying to get up the inside as well. Lorenzo again late on the brakes, but it's still Marquez that holds on to 2nd place.
Nightmare for Scott Redding, the British rider on a Pramac Ducati's already crashed out of the race, and lap 1 about to be completed. Maverick Vinales, Suzuki's Top Gun, leads the way over the line. Marquez in 2nd place. Then it's Lorenzo from Rossi, Dovizioso, Aleix Espargaro, Danny Pedrosa and Cal Crutchlow. That top 8 already making a bit of a breakaway from the field. Redding was down at turn 12.
Well, it's settled into a little bit of a ferocious first 4 corners. Maverick Vinales got up the inside of Marquez and Lorenzo. He fought back, did Marquez, but it's still Maverick Vinales that leads the way as they come up towards turn 6. 1.5 laps gone. We ride with Marquez right on the rear wheel of the Suzuki as they come through 6 up towards 7.
No way through for Marquez this time around, of course. Vinales and Marquez, only 2 of 3 riders in this field that have got the hard option front tyre and the hard option rear tyre fitted to their bikes. It's Lorenzo Rossi that went for the medium front.
He's lining him up all the time, Marquez, isn't he, Maverick Vinales?
It looks like Vinales really is just delaying the inevitable, isn't it, here? Because Marquez, we know he's got the pace if he can get to the front to stretch away from the field. Marquez won't make the same mistake as he did last year, though, and get too impatient behind Jorge Lorenzo. This is where he crashed at turn 12 last year. But he's happy just to sit in behind Vinales and wait for him to the opportunity to make a clean pass.
And is this the opportunity?
Here we go.
It's come turn 15. Marquez leads the way. 70,000 people on their feet. Marquez leads the way onto the back straight. Now really open that advantage. Vinales fights back side by side. 330 kilometers an hour. Who's bravest on the brakes? It's Marquez into turn 16.
Oh, Lorenzo's out well wide, is he, at the final corner? No way through for Valentino Rossi though, but Marquez, he loves that turn number 15 move. He made that on Jorge Lorenzo at the end of the first lap. He's done the same on Maverick Vinales then at the end of the 2nd lap. Marquez and Crutchlow trading fastest laps of the race. Cal Crutchlow, the quickest man on track, with a 1:49.309. Let's not forget those 2 have got that hard option front tyre on. There is Cal Crutchlow, currently running in 8th place, right in podium contention though, early on in this 23-lap Aragon Grand Prix. Oh, I thought Vinales was going to have an attack on Marquez there, a counter-attack at turn number 4, but there was no way through. Marquez holds firm.
Yeah, he is absolutely determined not to let him get away, isn't it, Maverick Vinales? If he can do that, we don't know. But he is giving it absolutely everything through turn 7. We ride with Marquez once again. Here comes Vinales. Has he retaken the lead?
Massive mistake by Marquez. He's back to 5th. Marquez just got turn number 7 horribly wrong. Vinales leads then. Marquez 1st to 5th in the blink of an eye.
Here we go. This is 2016, everybody. We do not know what is going to happen. What a mistake by Marquez.
Quite sure what happened there for Marc Marquez. Whether he thought Maverick Vinales was a little bit closer than what he was, because he picked up. But Vinales really was nowhere near. But Marquez back in fifth. I mean, I don't know if he missed a gear or something, or whether he had a foot slip off the footpad that we couldn't see. But
no disrespect to Marc Marquez, it's just what this race needed.
Yeah, absolutely
what this race needed. Onto the back straight they come. The two Yamahas hounding the Suzuki at the front. Dovizioso now suddenly in fourth place. I think you're absolutely right, Mark. I thought he felt that Vinales was right underneath him and perhaps a little bit too close. Well, he wasn't that close, was he?
The way he picked up, it was like he thought that somebody was coming through. Strange, but then anyway, in terms of the spectacle, it's brilliant for the race and for the neutrals. Lap 3 completed and Vinales is over the line. Yeah, Marc Marquez last time around with that a surprising mistake, he dropped into the 150, so he was the slowest of this group of the top 8.
That's just, it's really the top 8 that are fighting it out. Vinales, Lorenzo, Rossi, Dovizioso, Marquez, Aleix Espargaro, Pedrosa and Crutchlow. We then have Bravo going away, Paul Espargaro, Petrucci, Batista, Hernandez, Lafferty, Hayden, Pirro, Barbara, Rabat and Baz, and a crash for Scott Redding on the very first lap.
So then Marquez, it was here last time around at turn number 7 where he lost the lead, and he didn't only lose the lead, he fell out of the podium places. Here's Rossi hounding his teammate Jorge Lorenzo on the factory Yamaha, but Rossi's not been able to show Lorenzo a front wheel just as yet down the hill in the braking zone for the reverse corkscrew. Maverick Vinales still leading the way. Marquez has still not been able to fight his way back through, and Andrea Dovizioso in 4th place. Cal Crutchlow fighting tooth and nail against Danny Pedrosa. That battle for 7th and 8th. Crutchlow just can't find his way through. Aleix Espargaro doing a great job of hanging in there in 6th place as well.
Yeah, Crutchlow's putting in the fast laps. Here's the incident once again. This is turn 7.
Oh, he lost the front.
I did, very much so.
That's what happened. Yeah, it was difficult to see from the aerial shot. It was quite clear, though. That was a massive tie slide. Marquez, he probably thought there he was going to crash. I'm not quite sure how he saved it. It's just a long run and the endless run of miraculous front-end washouts for Marc Marquez. Brilliant replay there from the outside of turn number 7. That front end just washed away. And what this has done for Marc Marquez, he's now decided, OK, maybe I'm just pushing a little bit too hard before that hard option front tyre has come up to optimum working temperature. I might just try and settle into a bit of a rhythm here, not take any crazy risks, because that was a big wake-up call.
It was, but it was a ferocious first 1.5 laps, wasn't it? And I just think he got caught up with the occasion. And Aleix Espargaro now really hounding Marc Marquez in the 5th place. Aleix Espargaro on his tail as they come through turn 2 just in front of them. Vinales at the front on those Suzuki has set the fastest lap, a 1:49.086 for the Silverstone winner, former Moto2 winner here, a couple of times on the Moto3 podium. And he meant business in those first 4 or 5 corners, did Maverick Vinales.
Yeah, Marc Marquez got up the inside of Lorenzo coming through turn number 2, and what it did, he just squeezed Lorenzo out onto the curb, and then Marquez left the narrowest of gaps for Vinales to sweep through on that first lap, and he did it quite brilliantly. Ruthless by Maverick Vinales, great move, and he's in control of this race. He's just taken another 1/10 of a second outside of Jorge Lorenzo in the first sector on lap number 5. So the gap's 6/10 of a second. Looks like Rossi can see Vinales just making a little bit of a break. He needs to find a way through on Lorenzo pretty quickly here, does Rossi. Don't think he'll be close enough down in the braking zone for turn 12. No, Lorenzo gets that rear tyre on that Yamaha hooked up pretty well through turn 11.
Here we go, Rossi tries to line him up through 13, it's close, but Lorenzo holds firm through 13. They continue downhill, the left-hander at 14. Rossi again comes in when he tries to get up the inside at 15, not quite close enough. Onto the back straight they come. Marquez gets their Honda in front of Dovizioso's Ducati. It's a straight shootout on the straight. There's probably going to be only one winner here, and that is the Italian machine. But Marquez comes out of a slipstream, but unable to get up the inside at turn 16.
Yeah, he made the move on the brakes at turn 15 under Dovizioso, but he ran wide and completely compromised his exit speed. He fights straight back, though, on Dovizioso coming through the final corner. This time around, Marquez should have made it stick, but look at Dovizioso with the driver of the Ducati out of the final corner. Marquez also went. Rossi up to 2nd place. Rossi's been looking at this move now for the first 5 laps. He's finally found a way through on his teammate Jorge Lorenzo. Vinales again sets the first fastest lap of the race, a 1:49.085. That's why Rossi knew he had to make a move on Lorenzo pretty quick. So now, with a bit of clear track in front of him, Rossi's turn to try and hunt down Vinales at the front of this race.
Yeah, it was an important move by Rossi. He was getting a little bit frustrated. He bided his time. Classic overtaking manoeuvre here at Aragon at turn 1. And Alicia Sparga has also got past Andrea Dovizioso on the second of the Suzukis. But now, can Rossi haul in the advantage of Vinales at the front? Will Marc Marquez settle for another comfortable afternoon once again after a really big scare at the front, or will he go for it? Because he's had the pace all weekend.
Yeah, we're going to fight. It's going to be fascinating to see just what Marc Marquez does now in the final 18 laps of this Aragon Grand Prix. Will he stick or will he twist? Because if he sticks, 4th place is not a complete disaster in terms of his championship aspirations. And of course, if he does push hard, then he runs a risk of crashing out. This is on board with Valentino Rossi. Beautifully done up the inside of Lorenzo on the brakes at the first corner.
Classic overtaking manoeuvre here, Aragon, but it's they scrub off 200 kilometres an hour into that first turn. 80 kilometres an hour. We're looking at the helicopter shot now, and you've got to say Maverick Vinales is absolutely flying at the front. There is Marquez. Alicia Sparrow has done a great job. Cal Crutchlow's putting in the laps, but he just cannot get past Danny Pedrosa. And unfortunately, the gap is through. And Danilo Petrucci, I thought that said Danny Pedrosa at first. Danilo Petrucci had jumped the start, and it's a ride-through penalty for the man who's not had a lot of luck this season in 13th place.
Well, it says on the screens no jump start, so whether he's cut the track at some point and has got to come through a ride-through penalty, but Danilo Petrucci will have to come into the pits. There we go. Rossi now with clear track in front of him has got into the 148s. The first rider of the race into the 148, so 148.729 on that last lap alone. Once he'd got through on Lorenzo, he took 0.4 of a second out of Maverick Vinales now, and it's Rossi breathing all the way down the neck of his future factory Yamaha teammate Maverick Vinales. Rossi is on the charge. Let's not forget, in hot conditions in the 2 previous races on Spanish soil here this weekend, this year, Rossi won in Jerez, Rossi won in Barcelona. He's going for the hat-trick.
He certainly is. Closes up on the rear wheel of the Suzuki through turn 10. Then there's a magnificent left-hand of this fast sweeping left with the desert away over their right shoulders. They brake hard for turn 12. Rossi closes up on Vinales. 2 wins for Rossi this season. 1 for Maverick Vinales, of course, at Silverstone 2 races ago. Rossi's going to make his move any moment now. I think he knows he wants to, if he can get in front, try and open it up a bit, because Marquez it's got up the inside of Jorge Lorenzo as he made it stick. Marquez now up into 3rd place as they come onto the back straight, and he will make that stick as they go into turn 16. Rossi knows he's got to get past Vinales because Marquez has regained his confidence.
Marquez is lethal at turn number 15. He's made 4 great moves there already in this race. He's back into the podium places then, is Marc Marquez in 3rd. Vinales desperately trying to hold off Valentino Rossi. Rossi can't make a move up the inside on the brakes on Vinales, just as he did on Jorge Lorenzo a couple of laps ago. Marquez just put in his personal best lap of the race, a 148.961. So Marquez finally into the 148 bracket. He's a second behind this battle for the lead. Valentino Rossi stalking Vinales through turns 4 and 5. He just can't find a way through to make it a clean and safe pass on the Spaniard.
And you just get the feeling while he can't pass him, Marquez will keep closing the advantage. Again, it's a little look up the inside of Maverick Vinales. No way through. They run along the top now, down towards turns 8 and 9. This is where Rossi crashed on a Friday morning. They're telling him that Marquez, just looking at the pit board for Valentino Rossi, they know very clearly that it's Marc Marquez that is closing all the time. Rossi once again through 10, up towards 11. Will he try it at turn 12 as a brave overtaking manoeuvre if he does?
Yeah, Vinales is a demon himself, though, on the brakes. And of course, he has got that, maybe that extra braking stability from that asymmetric hard option front tyre, Vinales. They come now sweeping through turns 12 and 13, down the hill through 14. Rossi not close enough to attack Vinales at turn number 15. This is where Marc Marquez has been so brilliant, certainly in overtaking, coming through turn number 15. Oh, the ride-through penalty is for Danilo Petrucci. Well, he was obviously involved
with his teammate,
yeah,
Scott Redding.
Not the first time that Danilo Petrucci's been caught up in incident. Of course, you remember in Austria, he took out Eugene Lavity at the final corner in the race there. He got grid penalties for that. So Danilo Petrucci, a bit of friendly fire on his Pramac Ducati teammate. Back at the front, lap 8 complete, and it's still Maverick Vinales, who's got the message. He's responded quite magnificently, Vinales. Personal best lap of his race, a 1:49.080. So he's doing everything he possibly can to keep Rossi at bay.
Terrific battle going on between Aleix Espargaro, Andrea Dovizioso, Dani Pedrosa and Cal Crutchlow for 5th place. Crutchlow at the back of the group, wants to make progress. Not in. Here comes Rossi up the inside at turn 4. Vinales has to sit up, and Valentino Rossi now leads here at Motorland Aragon.
Classic block pass from Rossi, got the inside line. There's no way that Vinales could carry on turning into the corner. Picked him up, no contact, clean as you like, clean as a whistle. Rossi leads then here in Aragon for the first time, chasing his 3rd victory on Spanish soil in 2016. Marc Marquez is edging ever closer back into victory contention. You can see him there on the Repsol Honda. He's gapping Jorge Lorenzo in 4th place. Lorenzo's dropped half a second behind Marc Marquez. What he does in terms of the championship, if you're through the checkered flag now, then Marquez's advantage is cut to 34 points by Valentino Rossi if it stands as it is in about 15 laps time.
Past the famous Aragon wall, they start to plunge downhill through 13 and 14 and then into the left-hander at turn 15 that brings them onto this 1,000-metre long back straight. There's just over 14 laps to go. Another epic battle here in the sunshine at Aragon. And Marquez visibly is closing all the time in 3rd place.
Yeah, it's Jorge Lorenzo with the Jaws helmet, but you need to start playing the Jaws music for Marc Marquez because he is really, really fighting his way back into contention here. Lap number 9 will be completed. Rossi leads this race for the first time, and Marc Marquez again has put in a high 1:48. He was 0.3%. Oh, Vinales has gone wide at the first corner, so Marc Marquez takes 2nd place without even needing to fight for it. Vinales just got in a fraction too hot on the brakes at turn number 1, and he's dropped back down to 3rd place. Costly mistake by the Suzuki man.
Bad news for Valentino Rossi, because he wanted Vinales to make life very, very difficult before Marquez arrived. Well, Marquez is going to arrive without any problem at all. It's Danilo Petrucci. He is not a happy man with his ride-through penalty back at the front. Well, that gap at the moment, it was 0.3 seconds. You think it's a little bit closer now between Rossi and Marquez. Those enormous rivals. Nobody will forget the end of last season. 13.5 laps to go. Rossi leads the way. Marquez closing all the time. A mistake by Maverick Vinales has dropped him to 4th place. Then Aleix Espargaro, Dani Pedrosa, Cal Crutchlow, Dovizioso. Crutchlow has got past Dovizioso. Paul Espargaro 9th, Alvaro Batista in 10th place.
Lorenzo's gone up to 3rd place at turn number 12. He's made it stick, has he? Yeah, Vinales tried to fight back through turn number 13. So Maverick Vinales just struggling to run this hot pace at the front of this Aragon Grand Prix now because Lorenzo swept up the inside of him into 3rd.
Rossi's doing a really good job at the front. The gap is around half a second. As they come down into turn 16, through 16 and 17, there would be 13 laps to go. Still a long way to go. But Rossi, well, we will wait and see. But riding a tremendous race at the front. I wonder what the gap will be when they cross the line. Marquez, I'm sure, will be patient after that early mistake.
Marquez again running in those high 1:48s. That mistake by Maverick Vinales dropped him down into a 1:51.0. So Maverick Vinales, with that error, he lost 2 seconds running off at the first corner. There's his teammate Aleix Espargaro doing a great job of holding off Dani Pedrosa, Cal Crutchlow and Andrea Dovizioso. This is a battle for 5th place.
Yeah, as we were saying, Aleix Espargaro's only MotoGP podium finish was here 2 years ago. He's doing a brilliant job fighting off the winner in Misano and the winner in Bruno. But Dani Pedrosa closing on him all the time. Fierce old battle. Pedrosa really can fight it out with the best. The way he overtook Valentino Rossi, Jorge Lorenzo and Marc Marquez in the race 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is on board with the Misano winner Pedrosa, looking up ahead to Aleix Espargaro, who's coming under real pressure from Pedrosa. Marc Marquez has still not been able to duck within half a second of Rossi through the first. As I said that, though, Marc Marquez has taken over 0.2 of a second out of Rossi in the second split. The gap's under 0.3 of a second now between Rossi and Marquez.
Yeah, you see from the graphic, Valentino Rossi is now coming under pressure. You can see in the pictures now, the gap has been slashed under 0.3 of a second between Rossi and Marquez at the front. The battle still rages behind them as they come down that back straight. Across the line, you'd imagine if he remained a little bit the same, or I don't know. He's so fast through 16 and 17, Marc Marquez, and he can use it as an overtaking weapon every single time. Across the line they come, 12 to go here in Aragon, and the gap 0.2 of a second between Rossi and Marquez as they're into turn 1.
He's really reeled Rossi in these last couple of laps as Marc Marquez. Jorge Lorenzo's having to work really hard to keep Maverick Vinales at bay in third place. Lorenzo's just put in his personal best lap of the race, a 1:49.142. He's 1.6 seconds behind Marquez in second place. Of course, the main differential between Rossi and Marquez is the front tyre choice. They've both got the hard option rear on, but Rossi went for the medium option front, whereas Marquez went for the harder option, which you think over the race distance would be slightly more durable.
Yeah, how Rossi wishes that Maverick Vinales hadn't made that mistake. He'd have had him here to help a little bit with Marc Marquez, but it is going to be a straight fight between the two. Marquez now under no pressure from behind, can bide his time before he makes his move. I wonder if he'll make it quickly or he'll wait just a few more laps. You get the feeling he's going to come pretty quick now.
Sometimes Marc Marquez's hand is forced in terms of his front tyre selection, because he has to go for the hard option because of his aggressive style, certainly in the braking zone. He really does put a lot of punishment, a lot of stress on the front end of that factory Honda. So generally, he has to run the hardest available front tyre going just to be able to put up with. He's going for it at turn 15. Brilliantly done by Marc Marquez. Superb onboard camera. Has even a little bit too wide. That's the 5th time in this race that Marquez has had a lunge up the inside at turn number 15. He's got the drive. He's ahead of Rossi. Could that be race over here in Aragon?
Rossi tries to close up on the braking at turn 16. Rossi, we know, will fight back immediately. That's the way he does things. If he doesn't, this race could be over. Classic manoeuvre from Marc Marquez. He bided his time. Over the line they come, 11 laps to go. And Marquez, Rossi closes up on the braking at turn 1, but he is not close enough. Really good battle going on behind them between Lorenzo and Vinales.
Yeah, here we go. Marquez lined this up superbly, coming out of turn 14, up the inside of Valentino Rossi. Thought he might have just gone a little bit wide. Did he lose drive coming out the final corner? No, he didn't, because he got it to wound up the power to top gear, and the Honda just had the legs on Rossi down at the end of that back straight. So Marquez leads then.
The two bitterest rivals in world sport fight it out at the front here in Aragon. And here comes Rossi, thought about getting up the inside at turn 7, and then decided no, he's going to have one big go, Valentino Rossi, to try and retake the lead. And Marquez at the moment, and he hasn't been in the lead for a lap, is having problems getting away.
Well, practice and qualifying suggested that if Marc Marquez could get his nose at the front of this race, he would have little trouble stretching the field out, gapping the field. So now he is at the front. Can we see him make a breakaway from Rossi in second place? He's already taken 0.2 of a second out of Rossi on this 13th lap.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't he, through turn 15, certainly when he's overtaking. That's where he took the lead last time out, and there is the gap. It's coming up to around 0.4 of a second. Lorenzo just hanging on to third place from Maverick Vinales, who made that big mistake at turn 1. Right back in it now with Jorge Lorenzo as they fight it out for that final position on the podium.
That asymmetric hard option front tyre that Marc Marquez has got, it'll be harder. The harder compound will be on the left-hand side, and all of his moves, all of his overtakes have been brilliantly done through that left-hand at turn 15, because he'll just have a little bit more stability on the brakes as he chucks it in there, and he's already opening up, what, another 3 or 4 bike lengths on Rossi as they start lap number 14. Aleix Espargaro and Alvaro Bautista have just put in personal best laps. Alvaro Bautista having a great ride. The two Aprili's actually excelling in 10th and 11th place. Bautista just put in a 1:49.6. That was only a 10th of a second slower than Rossi.
Yeah, behind them we have Eugene Lafferty in 12th place, just getting past Johnny Hernandez, Mikel Impero 14th, and completing the scoring, Hector Barbara, Nicky Hayden on a return to Grand Prix Racing 16th, Tito Rabat and Loris Abad. Danilo Petrucci, that ride through penalty after an incident with his teammate Scott Redding. And Rossi is giving this absolutely everything. This could be a telling point in the World Championship, this battle at the front.
Yeah, on board with Marquez, the gap, 0.2 of a second then through the first split. Marquez just takes another 10th out of Rossi in that second sector as they come out of the reverse corkscrew.
I mean, the difference in the points is going to be enormous, isn't it? Obviously, I think it'll increase the lead to 48 points.
Yeah,
other way round, it would drop down to, well, you know, my math is not my strong point, 38 points. Yes, that would be right, wouldn't it?
Marquez is gapping. He's gapping Rossi. He's gapping Rossi on this lap.
On the back straight. All he's got to do now is fully concentrate, and he should win his 4th Grand Prix of the season. Still, the battle rages for 3rd place between Vinales and Lorenzo. This is much more like the old Jorge Lorenzo, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Maverick Vinales is definitely keeping him honest. But is this a decisive break then from Marc Marquez? It looks like it is. It's his personal best lap of the race, a 1:48.7. He's over half a second clear now of Rossi in 2nd place. Lorenzo and Vinales also in 3rd and 4th, putting in their personal best laps of the race. Rossi again, he did get into the 1:48s to try and desperately cling on to the back of Marquez, but it's Marquez that's stretching away.
We ride with Jorge Lorenzo in 3rd place, right in his face, that red number 25. It's the Suzuki of Maverick Vinales, closes right up. We switch now to Vinales. They come through turn 6, up towards 7. They run along the sort of top shelf here, into the corner, around 90 kilometers an hour, then down towards the reverse corkscrew. This is where Marquez made the big mistake earlier in the race and dropped back to 5th place from 1st. Vinales again really closes up at the bottom of the hill, turn 9. And now they're through 10 and 11, these two fast left-handers before the hard braking for turn 12. 8.5 laps to go.
Yeah, Marquez has pulled the pin here. He's now a second clear of Valentino Rossi through the 2nd sector on lap number 15. So Marquez is checking out. Could be his first victory on Spanish soil since Valencia in 2014. His first win since the German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring. Yeah, he's come through the 3rd sector now. What's the gap? 1.1 seconds. So Rossi could himself come under pressure from Lorenzo in 3rd place, because you can see Lorenzo just eking out a few bike lengths on Vinales as they come down the long back straight, all the way up to 335 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, from the shot where we're riding with Maverick Vinales, you can see Lorenzo in front of him. You actually got a glimpse there of Rossi as well, going into turn 16. Across the line, Marquez goes. And look at that advantage, 1.5 seconds now.
Fastest lap of the race, Nick, a 1:48.6. That time around, he was 1 second faster than Rossi. Rossi did a 1:49.6. There's nothing you can do about Marc Marquez when he's in this kind of form. Blistering best lap of the race, 1:48.6. It's good night Vienna for Marquez. He's out of here.
It's a great replay shot of him down at turns 13 and 14. Just gets that rear wheel on the curve, heavy braking, rear wheel right off the ground for Marc Marquez. Different planet, didn't Andrea Dovizioso say?
Yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right.
Well, and Valentino Rossi's assessment was pretty accurate as well, wasn't he? He said Marquez's pace in FP4 yesterday, never impossible to beat him, but you would need a miracle, and it doesn't look like at the moment that the miracle's coming in Motorland for Rossi, because Marquez 1.5 seconds clear. It's going to, well, as we said earlier on today, only Marc Marquez can beat Marc Marquez in this race now. It's going to take a mistake from the double MotoGP world champion, who is really now dropping Rossi.
Well, Valentino Rossi now aim will be to make sure he's in 2nd place and doesn't let Lorenzo or Vinales overtake him, and that may not be so easy. But Marquez at the front, he's made one big mistake in this race already. That's just the chance he does give you. It's a slight chance, but he can make a mistake.
That was Marquez doing then what he's trying to do now. He was trying to make a breakaway at the front of the race, did it before he got proper working temperature in that hard option front tyre. He waited. I've got to say I'm impressed with Marc Marquez, because he made that mistake and then he just was happy to bide his time. Sat in 5th place, didn't really get erratic, didn't get impatient, and just waited for that front tyre to come to him. And once he did, well, he's come through the field like a knife through butter. The gap now is 1.9 seconds. Now, this is what we expected. We expected Marc Marquez to rampage clear at the front, and Valentino Rossi, he's doing what he's got to do, be best of the rest. The 2nd place is what they all thought they were fighting for, and that is how it's materialised so far.
So, great battle for 3rd place between Lorenzo Viñales, and we have Pedrosa, Crutchlow.
Crutchlow's just taken 5th place, Nick, sorry, from Danny Pedrosa. Brilliant move by Crutchlow, then up into 5th place at turn 2.
So Crutchlow past Danny Pedrosa, we then have Aleix Espargaro, Pol Espargaro, Dovizioso down in 9th, Batista in 10th, Bradle 11, Perot 12, 13 is Laverty, 14 is Hernandez, and 15 is Hector Barbera, Rabat, Hayden, and Baz. He's been very, very patient as Cal Crutchlow, and it has paid off.
Yeah, last time around, Lorenzo was a couple of tenths quicker than Rossi in 2nd place. Crutchlow looks like he's got the rhythm to pull away from Pedrosa and Aleix Espargaro here. Crutchlow, yeah, he's already gapping the 2 Spaniards behind him. So Cal Crutchlow heading to be the top independent team rider yet again here in Aragon. Yeah, Lorenzo again, he's taken another 2 tenths out of Rossi. The gap between Rossi and Lorenzo, 2nd and 3rd then, is down to just over half a second.
We ride with Danny Pedrosa, who's coming under real big pressure from Aleix Espargaro.
Tito Rabat's crashed out again at turn number 5. It's been an awful home Grand Prix for the Spaniard Rabat. I think that's his 3rd crash of the weekend so far. The Moto2 winner here 1 year ago. Rabat crashed out of 16th place. He's just taken, actually, his temporary teammate Nicky Hayden for 16th, but Rabat's on the floor and out of the race.
This is Pedrosa and Aleix Espargaro still fighting it out. That battle for 6th place. Marquez has crossed the line, 2.5 second advantage. But what about Rossi, Lorenzo and Viñales?
Rossi's got a problem because Jorge Lorenzo took 4 tenths of a second out of him on that last lap. The gap now between Rossi and Lorenzo is under 3 tenths of a second. So Lorenzo looking to take that 2nd place from Rossi. That would be brilliant in terms of Marc Marquez's championship aspirations, because it'd be taking crucial points away from Rossi.
And it looks like problems for Andrea Dovizioso. The tyre choice perhaps not right for the Ducati, because closing up on him all the time now is Alvaro Batista on the Aprilia. We ride now with Valentino Rossi. His teammate is right in his face. Teammate by name only. They do not get on, and there's nothing Jorge Lorenzo would like to do more than push Rossi out of 2nd place.
Well, Lorenzo thought Rossi roughed him up unnecessarily in Misano a couple of weeks ago. Well, he's got his chance to exact a bit of revenge, hasn't he, on his teammate this time around. We're on board again with Rossi coming out of turn 10 through this fast kink at turn number 11. Hard on the brakes, trailing the brake with lean angle. Lorenzo's getting closer and closer to Valentino Rossi. Viñales at the top of your picture there has run wide again. So Maverick Viñales, his podium challenge looks like it's finally over. Viñales has lost more crucial time. The best he can hope for surely is 4th place now.
We ride with Rossi into turn 15. Teammate Jorge Lorenzo right in his face, disappearing at the front. Marc Marquez down this back straight towards turn 16. There will be 5 laps to go when they cross the line. This is the battle for 2nd place. But there's a lot more than 2nd place. I think this battle is all about. There's so much pride, and of course World Championship points as well. And his board tells him quite clearly as he got up the inside of him. But we ride with Valentino Rossi. Lorenzo pulled alongside briefly at turn 1, but not quite able to hold the vantage. But he closes up right again through turn 2.
Yeah, you can see Rossi left his braking really late there for turn 1 to make sure Lorenzo didn't get through. It cost him a bit of drive coming up the hill, and Lorenzo's going to be close enough to attack here at turn 4. He is. Lorenzo's through. Brilliantly done by the Spaniard. So Rossi pushed back to 3rd place. Turn 4, that is where Lorenzo makes his move on Rossi. Lorenzo up to 2nd.
Yeah, clean. Rossi fights back immediately. Very, very close indeed as they come up through turn 7. Now 8. They plunge down the right, now the left at the bottom of the hill. And Rossi again closes up as tight as he can on Jorge Lorenzo, but not able to get through. Now he's up the inside again, gets his front wheel level with the rear wheel of Lorenzo's Yamaha, but Lorenzo holds firm in 2nd place. As I said, teammates they may be. This is a very personal battle indeed. Run along the top end of the circuit before they break for turn 12. 4.5 laps to go.
Well, the pace of Lorenzo over the last 5 or 6 laps has suggested that now he's got in front of Rossi, he should be able to relatively comfortably pull away from his Yamaha teammate. Of course, it is a straight shootout. They're on the same bikes. They've got the same tyre choice. The medium front tyre, the hard option rear.
Just a graphic, really, just a small picture there at the top of your screen. He's running away with it at the front, almost 3 seconds advantage of 4. Marc Marquez, we ride with Valentino Rossi, tries to close up at turn 16, but it looks a bit of a forlorn hope now. Lorenzo firmly established in that second place as they come over the line. 4 laps to go.
Yeah, the gap between Lorenzo and Rossi, almost 0.3 of a second. We know Rossi's such a demon late breaker. He closes up in that braking zone for the first corner. Not close enough, though, to attack Lorenzo. Maverick Vinales, well, he lost a whole chunk of time, Vinales. He's pretty comfortably in 4th place with Cal Crutchlow. Is Rossi looking to line up a move at turn number 4? No, he's not going to be close enough. This is where Lorenzo took 2nd place last time around.
Rossi has really closed up through 4, 5, now 6. Going to come up to turn 7. We ride with Lorenzo. Rossi's right with him. This is where Lorenzo went down this morning in the morning warm-up.
Can't get away, can he, Lorenzo?
No, he can't. It's like a dog with a bone, Valentino Rossi. As I say, this is a very personal battle indeed.
Here is Marquez, the runaway leader. Believe it or not, this will be Marc Marquez's first victory in the dry since round 3 at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Look at that. He's had unbeatable pace all weekend in practice and qualifying, and he's been absolutely supreme so far in this 23-lap encounter. The fastest lap of the race coming on lap number 15, a 1:48.6. Look at those last 3 laps as well. 1:49.1, 1:49.1, 1:49.1. Absolute metronomic consistency from Marc Marquez. He has been nothing short of sensational all weekend here as Lorenzo has taken another 5 or 6 bike lengths out of Rossi in that battle for 2nd place. Rossi struggling to hang in there.
I think he's broken a Valentino Rossi. Runs it a little bit wide, as is the way he actually takes turn 16. Boy, Lorenzo cuts back across the corner. Over the line they come. 3 laps to go. Marquez, Lorenzo and Rossi are through. Next up should be Maverick Vinales. He's over the line. He's in 4th place. 2 big mistakes really by the Suzuki rider at turn 1 and turn 12. Crutchlow 5th. 6 is Aleix Espargaro. He's pushed Danny Pedrosa back to 7th. 8th is Pol Espargaro. 9th, great ride by Alvaro Bautista. Poor Andrea Dovizioso is struggling in 10th place. Stefan Bradl, good ride by him, 11th. That's the top 11 through at the moment.
See a bit of tyre wear on the left-hand side of Rossi's hard option rear tyre. He's not letting Lorenzo get away at all, is he?
Not.
Lorenzo gets the better drive coming out of turn number 15 onto the back straight, and that's where he's able to just eke out a few bike lengths on Rossi. But in the first 2 sectors is where Rossi really closes up. Marquez, in terms of the championship, you can see there, is about to head into a 52-point lead, heading to the triple header flyaways in Japan, Australia and Malaysia.
Yeah, he wants to pull back 4 points on that, doesn't he? Valentino Rossi, 16 for 3rd, 20 for 2nd. Could be important as far as when the championship is actually won, rather than actually winning the championship. And you've got to give full marks to Valentino Rossi.
In the hard braking zones, coming down to turn number 12 and turn number 16, Rossi's got by far the better feeling on the front than Lorenzo. This is where Lorenzo's been good last couple of laps around, getting on the throttle and getting good drive coming out of that turn 15. Again, he's able to just eke out precious 2 or 3 bike lengths on Rossi.
We ride with Rossi. Now we switch to the helicopter shot as they come into 16. And here again, Rossi once again closing up on the brakes at turn 16. Up over the rise through 17. Marquez has already crossed the line now with 2 laps to go. The gap now 3 seconds. But all eyes now really centred on this battle, very personal battle, teammates for Valentino Rossi and Lorenzo, and Rossi very close indeed to Lorenzo as they break for turn 1, but on the outside rather than the inside.
Fascinating battle this, because not only is it 2 bitter rivals involved, but it looks like Lorenzo's got the better rear grip and Rossi's got the better front grip. So it's a contrast here between the 2 of them. Rossi closes up yet again through turn number 5. Lorenzo looks like a bit of a sitting duck at the moment. Rossi's going to have a lunge at the inside at turn number 7, as he knows he's not quite close enough this time around, but Lorenzo will be able to hear that number 46 Yamaha breathing all down his neck.
You'll be able to smell him when he's so close as they plunge downhill through 8 and 9. Rossi very close indeed. Could he have a go at 12 on the brakes? That very difficult downhill left-hander. But they're through 10. They're through the very fast turn 11. We ride with Jorge Lorenzo. Can 46 get up the inside on the brakes? We're about to find out.
Turn 12, Rossi makes his move, Rossi's up the inside, surely he's in way too hot. He is, he went in way too hot. There was no way that Rossi was going to make that move stick. Surely that is now second place over for Rossi. He went up the inside, he came from a long way back on Jorge Lorenzo down at turn number 12. He was never in a million years going to make that move stick, Rossi. Out into the dirty part of the off-road, the runoff area, and surely that is game, set and match for Rossi's chances of second place in that race.
We ride with Jorge Lorenzo into turn 16. Marquez is already through 16, coming over the rise in 17. He will cross the line with 1 lap to go. Here is the manoeuvre. Rossi up the inside, but absolutely nowhere to go, but straight on for the 9 times world champion.
Yeah, he lost nearly 3 seconds as well, Rossi, in that incident. He came round over the line with a 1:52.5. Lorenzo ahead of him did a 1:49.8. So it was a costly lunge there by Valentino Rossi. You know, the way he was shadowing and stalking Lorenzo, didn't really feel like he had to make that move in that. I mean, obviously he felt like the opportunity was there. He came from a long way back, and you know, you're trailing the front brake. If Valentino Rossi had grabbed the front brake any harder, what would have happened was he would have lost the front and taken out himself and Lorenzo.
Well, there you go. That's confirmation, and that's how it's going to be a 52-point advantage in the World Championship. The number 93, Marc Marquez, he has looked a race winner all weekend. Mistake by him early in the race, but the new Marc Marquez kept calm, bided his time, and once he was at the front, despite a really hard chase by Valentino Rossi, there was only going to be one winner of this Aragon Grand Prix.
Yeah, Marquez then through turn number 12. He's got just 5 corners to go then before he takes the victory here in Motorland Aragon. Andrea Dovizioso's dropping like a stone. He's back in 11th place now. That gamble to run the medium option rear tyres not paid off for the Italian. He's been passed by the 2 Aprilias, Bautista 9th and Bradle 10th.
Jorge Lorenzo, be a very morale-boosting second place for him. His ride really made Valentino Rossi make the mistake, but the crowd are on their feet, around 70,000 here at Motorland Aragon. They salute Marc Marquez. He's going to be the race winner here in Aragon, and a big way to winning that 2016 world title. Marquez wins in Spain.
Second over the line is Jorge Lorenzo after an fight with his teammate Valentino Rossi. Rossi has to settle for 3rd place. Maverick Vinales crosses the line in 4th on the Suzuki. Cal Crutchlow in 5th place. He's the top independent team rider. Danny Pedrosa, the Mazzano winner, completes the top 6. Aleix Espargaro 7th. Younger brother Paul Espargaro comes across the line to finish in 8th. A brilliant ride by Alvaro Bautista on the factory Aprilia in 9th. 2 Aprilias inside the top 10, with Stefan Bradl crossing the line in 10th. Andrea Dovizioso, well, his pace dropped down to 1:54s at the end of the race. He was 11th ahead of Andrea Iannoni's replacement, Michele Pirro. Hector Barbara, Eugene Laverty and Nicky Hayden on his return to MotoGP, completing the point-scoring finishes.
Yeah, Ianni Hernandez across the line in 16th place. Yeah, and Barbara just getting past Laverty on that very last lap. Well, he's never going to do it the easy way, is he, Marc Marquez? He doesn't do things the easy way, and he didn't do this the easy way. And I've got to say, the first 2 or 3 laps in this race was as ferocious as you will ever see, because the others knew if they didn't rough him up, if they didn't prevent him getting to the lead, he was going to disappear, and he did make a mistake.
As we told you there as well, look, a 54th Grand Prix win of Marc Marquez's career means he ties Mick Doohan as the 6th most successful rider in Grand Prix history. It was his 28th Premier Class success for Marc Marquez, his first since the Sachsenring. Jorge Lorenzo is pretty ecstatic to have finished in 2nd place. In fact, that's his best result
since
Jorge
Mugello,
Lorenzo, since he won in Mugello, yeah. So good reason to be happy. Maverick Vinales, well, he took the fight to Marc Marquez very early on in that race. He led the early stages on the factory Suzuki, but a couple of costly errors cost him the chance to be back on the podium for the first time since Silverstone. He ran wide at turn number 1 And then again at turn number 12, that left Vinales in a pretty lonely 4th place.
Yeah, it'd have been an interesting battle for that Lorenzo Rossi battle if Vinales had been involved, wouldn't it? But he made the mistake. That's the pace that this man set at the front. Away for Valentino Rossi, full marks to the 37-year-old. He gave absolutely everything. He took the risk at turn 12. It was never going to pay off. He got past Jorge Lorenzo momentarily, but just had to run it on. But it did appear that that was well over that particular battle, but he fought back. Familiar scenes here. Well, not for some time, we're going to say, at a Spanish circuit for Marc Marquez. He has looked like a likely winner all weekend. Dare you say, he's looked like a likely world champion all weekend as well, and certainly in this particular race.
There's Dani Pedrosa, who after his heroics in Misano will be pretty frustrated. 6th place, never really in the podium hunt, 17 seconds behind his teammate Marc Marquez at the checkered flag. So Dani Pedrosa brought back down to earth with a bump. Here's Cal Crutchlow in Parc Ferme as the top independent team rider. Great ride to 5th place for Crutchlow. Once he got ahead of Dani Pedrosa and Aleix Espargaro in that battle for 5th place, we suspected he had the pace to pull away, and he did. He finished quite comfortably, almost 4 seconds quicker than that Pedrosa.
That just shows the sort of form he's in, Cal Crutchlow, doesn't it? It was a tremendous ride. Well, the Midlander, but now lives on the Isle of Man. It's going to take ages for Marc Marquez to get back to Parc Ferme. His brother, who had a good ride in Moto2 without giving him the fence here, I think, did he? Got caught up in the barbed wire and everything else.
Yeah, well, Marc Marquez, he'll be milking this because he hasn't been able to celebrate a victory in front of his home crowd since Valencia in 2014. The inquest starts for Valentino Rossi and crew after that 3rd place. Here comes Jorge Lorenzo, who's pretty pumped, isn't he, about that 2nd place, getting the better of Rossi. Rossi goes to have a look at that. Look at that's Rossi. Look, Rossi's gone straight to have a look.
At Lorenzo's really
yeah, because I think what we saw in that race, we mentioned it. I think Lorenzo had the better rear grip. It was Rossi that had the better front. That was an indication there what Rossi thought. He went straight to have a look at the hard option rear tyre of Jorge Lorenzo. They both ran the same spec rear tyre, but it did just look like, certainly in the fast sections and on acceleration grip, that Lorenzo just had the better life.
Remember 2 weeks ago when he finished 3rd, still on the podium in Misano, how unhappy he was, and what this 2nd place, it's only 1 place in front, it's not a race win, means to Jorge Lorenzo. Maverick Vinales will be very disappointed. He had the chance there for a podium finish, but he went for it, and you got to admire him for doing that. Mistake at turn 1 running on, then that mistake at turn 12, and I think the team just having a word with him and saying, yeah, you went for that big time, and that's what we want to see in a rider. Well, Jorge Lorenzo's got 4 races left, and it's just nice to see him back in that sort of form. He still trails Valentino by 14 points in the championship in a battle for 2nd place, because I think really now it's a question of when rather than if Marc Marquez is going to be crowned the 2016 world champion, and he has certainly rode like a world champion this afternoon, and that's what the crowd thinks.
This is what you're going to see, nice and attacking from Bayern Munich.